So the first thing I pulled out is a 30mm finder scope. Then we've got a 45-degree prism diagonal. This 45-degree angle is better suited to sort of low down observing, and the prism inside there gives you a fully corrected view for daytime observing. You get a basic super 25mm eyepiece, a basic super 10mm eyepiece. So they give 16 times and 40 times magnification. You get rather a decent metal Barlow, actually. That's quite good. Sometimes you get a plastic Barlow, but this is metal construction. And I think we can probably unscrew that end element as well to turn it into an extension tube, which is quite handy. Just in case the camera doesn't reach focus, you can add that by unscrewing that element there. It's got a T-thread on the top to attach to a camera via a T-ring. So that will take the included eyepieces up to 32 and 80. So what we've got now, so that's the stalk for the finder, the 30mm finder. Let's put that down there. And there's no instruction manual that I can see with this. You can find lots of videos online about these, and obviously this is another video, so hopefully this will help someone who opens this, sees there's no instructions, and searches online for a video on how to sort of set this up. So let's unlock those rings and just remove that paper. It's a little lightweight telescope, that's for sure. I'm going to weigh it in a moment. It's got a block attached to the bottom of the rings, and that's got some 1/4-inch thread, so you can attach it to a photographic tripod, or you can buy this bundled with the AZ3 mount, and that'll go straight on there. But if you want to attach it to other astronomy mounts with Vixen saddles, you'll need what I've purchased as an accessory, which is this ST80 Dovetail Kit that you can just attach on there instead. So you can attach it to pretty much any astronomy mount. So that does bring the overall price up to around about, I think that's about £20. So it brings the overall price up to around about £140 for this. But we get an 80mm objective lens at the front, and you get a 1.25-inch rack and pinion focuser, and that feels absolutely fine. And then this little wheel at the top is to lock the focuser in place. If we take this end cap off, there's a T-thread there which allows us to attach a camera using a T-ring. This is a camera T-ring for a micro four thirds camera. So this is a camera that I gifted to my daughter. It's a Lumix GH1 micro four thirds. So repop this on here. She let me borrow it for this video. So there's a bayonet for your particular camera there. You can just twist that on like you would a lens. And then this will screw onto that thread like so. So you just need a T-ring for a screwed connection. Now, I've read different things about this reaching focus with cameras. Some people say that it reaches focus fine with their camera using that T-thread and a T-ring. Others say that you need an extension, a bit more extension to reach focus. And I think the most simple way to do that would be to get some M42 extension rings. So you can buy these M42 extension rings, and I'll just show you how that would work. Oh God. There you go. Screw those on there. Camera goes on there, and then we should have enough back focus to reach focus now. There is a 1/4-inch mount on the top if you wanted to piggyback a camera on the top of there. That's how you'd attach it. Let's have a look. So that would go on like that, and then just screw round until it went all the way home. And yeah, the length of this thing is, what we're looking at, just roughly, we are looking at it's about 15.5 inches long, which is 39 centimeters. And the dew shield is just shy of 4 inches, or that's about 98 millimeters, I'd say. 98, 99 millimeters. Let's weigh it and see how much it weighs. Okay, pretty much 1.5 kilos, which is around about 3 pounds, I believe. So super light. We're looking at, oh look, with a camera or heavy eyepiece and diagonal, we're looking at, what, 2 kilos, 3 and a bit pounds, 4 pounds, that kind of area. So let's pop the diagonal in to show you how it sets up for observing. This 45-degree prism basically turns this into a spotting scope for daytime viewing. You can use it for astronomy like this, but the edge of the prism in there can cause a line through bright point source objects like bright stars or the planets. So ideally, if you're doing astronomy, you might want to swap that out for a mirror diagonal. But the good thing about the prism is it gives you a fully corrected view. So up is up, down is down, left is left, and right is right. If you swap that for a mirror diagonal, up is up, down is down, but right is left and left is right. So the image is flipped left to right. So this will eventually be a really big upgrade to my guide scope on my deep sky imaging rig. But also it's a good grab and go scope. It'll also fit on my mini tabletop Dobsonian mount as well. And yeah, it's going to be good for a grab and go. It's mainly going to be best for low power views. This isn't by any means a planetary or lunar telescope. Not only does it not have the focal length to get you up and close to those objects, but also the crown and flint lens in here and the steep and the short tube that bends the light really steeply, it doesn't do an amazing job of correcting all those wavelengths of light. So if you pump up the magnification or view bright objects, they get kind of a colour fringe around them. It's called chromatic aberration, usually like a reddy or a purpley colour fringe, and it does give a bit of a softness to the image, and it's not so crisp at higher powers. So this is better as a low power rich field telescope, and with the supplied 25mm eyepiece, it goes as low as 16 times magnification, which is, we're talking, you know, binocular magnifications here. So low power, wide field of views, great for those bright deep sky objects such as the Andromeda Galaxy, Orion Nebula, Pleiades, open clusters. Great. This would be great for comets as well. So it's got quite a few applications, this, but it's just generally a good little telescope to have in your arsenal of equipment, because it can be used for various different things. So really, I'm overdue getting my hands on one. This is the first ST80 StarTravel 80 that I've owned. I've owned the larger ST102 and the ST120, but this is my very first ST80. I think the others would be too large as guide scopes. But yeah, so once you've got the diagonal in there, you can pop your eyepiece in. Let's just make sure those little thumb screws are done up. If I grab an eyepiece. And there we have it, set up for observing. Now, this is so short and wide field, like it will give a view of like 2.5, 3 degrees. It's really low power. So you could also use this as a finder scope on a much larger telescope, like a super finder on a very big telescope. But this does come with a optical finder that I pulled out earlier. So next you need to attach the finder scope. It comes in 3 parts basically. You get the 30mm finder, the stalk, and this rubber O-ring. First you need to slide the rubber O-ring over until it goes and sits onto this narrow groove in the middle. And then you want to line up this wider groove with these bolts. I don't know if you can see on camera, but this one arrived with one of those plastic bolts sheared. So I will contact Flow and ask them to send me out another bolt at some point. But I'm not too worried because I'm not going to actually use this anyway. I'm going to use my red dot finder. This is just to show you guys. So there's a spring-loaded silver plunger, which allows you to, if you pull that, you can slide this in until it hits, until it's in that groove, like so. And then just push that in a bit, like there we go. Just make sure that O-ring's sitting just inside there and in the groove. And then you can adjust both those screws, bearing in mind that's normally intact. You can adjust these screws there and there to line this finder scope up with the main telescope. Now this has got a foot on it, which sits in the shoe, which is on the focuser, like so. Just does it with a screw on the right hand side. You need to align the finder scope with the main optical tube, and the best way to do that is during the daytime, being careful not to point this anywhere near the sun. But if you find something like a TV aerial, train the main telescope looking through the eyepiece at the TV aerial, then make adjustments to these 2 screws until you're seeing the same thing through the finder scope as you are through the main telescope, and then job done. Your finder scope is aligned to your main telescope. Cool. I think that's everything. I think what I'll do also is I'll just quickly show you how to attach this if you buy the optional StarTravel Vixen Dovetail Plate, M6 Dovetail Plate, so you can use this with Astronomy mounts. Okay, to install the optional StarTravel 80 Vixen Dovetail bar with its M6 bolts, of course you need a M6 Allen key, and you'll need a 10mm wrench to remove these bolts here. Let's get going with that. It looks like the bar's got like a little safety catch there, so I'd have that at the front of the telescope, so if the telescope slides through the saddle under gravity, if it comes undone, it will catch on the saddle and stop the telescope falling to the ground. So let's just pop that screw in there. And there we have it. We've got the Vixen dovetail attached to the ring, so we can now use this with a typical astronomy mount with a Vixen saddle, which most astronomy mounts have. I'll leave the video there. We'll do some more stuff with this telescope before it ultimately becomes a super guide scope. I'll put it through its paces with various sort of observing and imaging tasks and see if we can make some improvements to it as well. But yeah, we'll leave it there for this video. Big thank you to my channel members and patrons as always, and I hope you'll join me on the next video.